Anyone who grew up on Bible stories like me will find it interesting to know that Noah's Ark apparently landed on Mount Ararat after the Great Deluge. Armenians are said to be Noah's direct descendants. With its kind and hospitable people, fresh produce and hearty cuisine, first-class brandy and wines, and rich culture and history, it's a great idea to experience the land of Noah. My first destination was Dilijan. It is an old town in the north known for its beautiful landscapes, mountains, and valleys. The old town is surrounded by the Dilijan National Park. It provides an all-year-round scenic route on top of its famous tourist destinations. After visiting the old town, we drove for about 15 to 20 minutes uphill to this 13th century monastery. Hagartin, which means soaring eagle, is one of the most famous monasteries in Armenia. Lake Savan, or Savana Lich, is the biggest body of water in Armenia and the Caucasus region. One of the main highlights of Lake Savan is the Savanavank Monastery complex in the northwestern part of this rocky peninsula. Savanavank Monastery used to sit on a hill of a completely separate island. The lake water level eventually dropped, making the island part of the rest of the peninsula and making everyone's visit an easy, scenic drive up the monastery. Today, there are restaurants and a bakery at the foot of Savannavank's hill, and locals sell their souvenirs as well, so it's a great choice for a pit stop. Someone's stealing apples from this neighborhood. There are over 4,000 monasteries in Armenia, but this one is a must-see. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is unique as it is partially carved out of a mountain. Gegard, which means spear, is a reference to the lance that pierced Jesus Christ's heart at the crucifixion.
Hello! There are 3-4 like this, small pillars.
Come on! The Temple of Garni is the only pagan temple in the country, and it stands mighty and proud by the Garni fortress. As you look closer, you can see both old and new stones support the temple after it was rebuilt from a strong earthquake in 1679. Vernissage is a large open-air market which is a clear proof of Armenian artistry, craftsmanship, and creativity. This is the Armenian duduk, or the traditional flute. A duduk can take from either 1 day to even sometimes 6 months or a year to make. cold, but I removed my sweater because I'm feeling a bit warm from walking around the city for the last couple of hours and going to the flea market and doing the same thing. So, more of Yerevan. This is the Genocide Memorial Complex in Yerevan. It is dedicated to the memory of the 1.5 million Armenians who perished in the first genocide of the 20th century. This particular complex that sits on a hill was completed in 1967. It has since become a pilgrimage site and has become an integral part of Yerevan's architecture. I just arrived in Victory Park. It's on one of the hilly sides of Yerevan, and I went here specifically to see her. She's Mother Armenia. She has a very strong stance and visage and a sword in her hand, and the message is quite clear for the people of Armenia who have had their fair share of colonizations, of invasions and wars and deaths over the last couple of centuries alone. They will remain strong as a people. This is the Cascade Monument in Yerevan. It connects downtown and the upper residential areas via this large staircase. It's made of limestones, and it was originally conceived by architect Alexander Tamanyan, and I believe it began in the 1970s and it finally finished in the early 1980s. And up to this day, this is still one of the most famous landmarks here in Armenia. All in all, Armenia was a wonderful experience, and parallel to the story of Noah and his family overcoming the Great Deluge, the Armenian people have also survived a tragedy of great magnitude, yet they remain kind and proud, and I got to experience that firsthand, and I'm grateful for it.